A year had passed since my separation from Emily, and my life had taken a completely unexpected turn. I had moved into a modest condominium downtown, far from the house that once echoed with the remnants of our shared past. My days had become calmer, filled with work, reading, and the occasional social gathering. It was a simple life, stripped of grandeur, but it gave me the peace I had desperately needed after the storm of our breakup. Since the final court hearing, Emily and I had kept complete silence. Neither of us reached out. The wounds from our separation were still fresh, and I convinced myself that distance was for the best. I doubted my ability to face her without reviving old anger and resentment. Then, one cold November evening, just as I settled in for a quiet night, there was a knock at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone, so I was shocked when I opened it to see Emily standing there. She looked uncertain, her posture hesitant, and her eyes held both determination and unease. "James," she began softly, her voice trembling. "Emily, what are you doing here?" I asked, confusion and guarded curiosity rushing through me. "I know this is sudden," she said, wringing her hands nervously, "but I need to talk to you. It's important." A storm of questions filled my head. Was she here to reopen old wounds? Or had something serious happened? Against my better judgment, I stepped aside and let her in. She moved carefully, sitting at the edge of my sofa, her back stiff. I stayed opposite her, maintaining space. Whatever she had come to say, I wasn't sure I was ready to hear it. "It's about my father," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your father," I repeated, frowning. Richard, her father, had always been a barrier in our marriage. From the very beginning, he made it clear he thought I wasn't good enough for his daughter. His interference had caused countless arguments, straining Emily and me further apart. "He's very sick," she continued, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "The doctors don't think he has much time. And he's been asking to see you." "To see me? Why would he want that?" I asked in disbelief. She hesitated, taking a deep breath. "He wants to apologize, James. He feels responsible for what happened between us." Her words hit me like a heavy blow. Richard, the man who had done everything to undermine me, now wanted to make peace. I didn't know how to react. Part of me felt bitter at the irony, while another part burned with anger. "I don't know, Emily," I said after a long pause. "This feels complicated." "I understand," she said quickly, her voice pleading. "But it would mean so much to him, and to me." I studied her face, searching for any hidden motive. But all I saw was honesty and vulnerability. Despite everything, a small part of me still cared for her. Her sincerity stirred something within me. After what felt like an eternity, I slowly nodded. "All right," I said quietly. "I'll do it." 2 days later, I stood outside Richard's hospital room, my heart pounding. Emily stood beside me, her face unreadable, her usual composure betraying nothing. With her small gesture of encouragement, I pushed the door open. Inside, Richard sat in a chair, frail and diminished, a shadow of the forceful man I once knew. His skin was pale, his body thinner than I remembered. Yet when his eyes met mine, his face lit up with a weak but genuine smile. "James," he said, his voice faint but steady, filled with a sincerity I had never heard before. "Thank you for coming." I nodded, words stuck in my throat. For years, I had carried resentment toward this man, blaming him for much of the turmoil in my marriage. Now he sat before me, vulnerable, seeking closure. He took a shallow breath. "I've been thinking about the past. I realize now how much I interfered, how I made things worse between you and Emily. I thought I was protecting her, but all I did was cause pain." His words struck deep, stirring emotions I hadn't expected. To hear Richard admit his role in our pain brought both astonishment and a strange sense of comfort. My chest tightened, and for a moment I couldn't speak. Finally I managed, "I appreciate you saying that. But it wasn't all your fault. Emily and I made our own mistakes." A faint smile tugged at his lips. Perhaps so. But I hope you can forgive an old man for his part in it. I swallowed hard, feeling a rush of emotions, anger, pity, and an odd sense of release. I forgive you, I said at last, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. That moment became a turning point. After years of bitterness, it opened a path for Emily and me, not as a couple again, but as allies supporting her father in his final days. We didn't dwell on the past or reopen old arguments. We focused on the present, standing together for Richard and for each other. A few weeks later, Richard passed away. At his funeral, Emily and I stood side by side, not bound by love but by quiet respect. In the days that followed, we spoke more often, not about what had gone wrong, but about the memories we had shared, the lessons we had learned, and the people we had become. We didn't reunite. That chapter had closed. But for the first time in years, I could look at Emily without bitterness. Instead, there was a sense of peace, an acknowledgement of the good we once shared and the growth that came from our pain. Months later, I received a letter from Richard's lawyer. Inside was a small inheritance, along with a handwritten note. James, thank you for forgiving me. Use this to begin something new. You deserve it, Richard. Reading those words, I felt a closure I hadn't realized I needed. Richard's gesture was simple, but it carried deep meaning, a final act of acceptance and generosity. That night when Emily knocked on my door, I never imagined it would lead here. Not to a reunion of love, but to healing and understanding. Life has a way of surprising us. And I've learned that forgiveness is one of the greatest gifts you can give, not only to others but to yourself.